And we are back for you, just minutes away from the next game, eSuba versus Instinct. And I am very much looking forward to that. Nero, what about you?
Oh, I surely am looking forward to this one. The winners match that we do get to see right here. Some people in the chat showing up and saying that Instinct is now the best Greek team. We've got eSuba that's supposedly the best Czech team. And also, it is a little bit of a shame because seeing that Instinct match, seeing people talking about the best team in that region, I come back to the topic that's pretty hot stuff right now in Poland. That you do have some national leagues. Like for Europe, you've got the European LCS, you've got the North American LCS, you've got these biggest kind of regions, but then you have local league for Australia, you've got the local league for Turkey, and we don't get to see the Turkish teams right here. These have some really strong teams out there that can't even compete in the world championships. You've got some Russian teams who also have their own league, and they also can compete in the world championships, and these guys are doing quite well. So you can see how strong a region with its own league is. While in Czech Republic, while in Poland, you don't really have that sort of solid league. Of course, it's a commitment for the teams. So we don't really see the Turkish teams right here. We don't see the Russian teams right here because they have their own league in their country. There they have some big prize pools, they have some big sponsors, and so on and so on. So they don't really look for all these opportunities of smaller tournaments, but yeah, that just shows you how it improves the entire scene. Right now in Poland, a lot of companies are trying to create that Polish league where teams will have to commit, where they will have to actually sign contracts, where they have to form some solid squads so that they don't exchange members all the time. And yeah, it's great to see eSuba. They're on a very high level, and that shows you that the scene is mature enough in Czech Republic to create that kind of league. I'm wondering what it actually means to be the best team in Poland, what it actually means to be the best team in Greece. Is it enough to compete against one of these Turkish guys, these Russian guys, or maybe even the Czech guys who are, in my opinion, pretty mature as esports in League of Legends overall?
Yeah, and it looks like we are ready a bit ahead of schedule. eSuba and Instinct, they're not going to let us wait here for a longer time. And I just love that because they're going at it banning right away. And first ban is the Xayah ban. So eSuba definitely targeting their opponents. Instinct, once again, they have seen how strong Instinct can work with that Xayah and that Rakan that we have seen on the bot lane. So I really love to see what else they're gonna ban here in order to target their opponents, because that's what they're good at, and they're choosing to go for a LeBlanc ban. On the other side, Instinct, they just went for a Karma.
That LB is seeing a lot of focus from eSuba, like as if really their mid laner did not like playing against that particular champion. But if we're talking about the Xayah and Rakan, just banning out Xayah probably is the best idea, because right now Rakan's threat is kind of minimized. While in the meantime, you can pick Xayah without Rakan and not worry about anything. So that support pick kind of can be left out, and eSuba should not be worried about that anymore. So they're good. Now on the other side, Instinct, they're aiming at Karma and Lulu. So maybe indeed they're gonna go for the Rakan to force eSuba into playing something they're not really comfortable with. But then we saw a Blitzcrank just a while ago. There's a possibility to still bring out that Thresh or any other champion really. Also an Ivor ban from eSuba, so something that we did not get to see earlier. But as I said, some skilled players that know how to play Ivern can completely make you the game, so that might be a smart one from the Czech lineup.
And we also see the Zac ban coming in again from Team Instinct here. And it's going to be interesting to see what eSuba really decides to go for this time. Last time we just saw it work perfectly for them against their first opponent, against Echo Zulu. But this is going to be maybe a bit more interesting in terms of watching it. eSuba going up against Instinct. We were talking about that. It's more kind of a level ground they're playing on. And eSuba, once again, they go for the Lee Sin as they did in the first game. They had some great plays with that, and I really like to see it once more.
Yeah, that's really good. And if once again that Lee Sin is able to just start, maybe not even dominating the jungle, but just looking at what is going on, controlling the enemy jungler, just counter ganking or invading him, counter jungling him, it could be just good enough. While Instinct actually go for the Syndra mid, I think that is a very, very good idea because they're taking away that easy way of eSuba just dominating the games. That's really cool. Now eSuba's mid laner, alright, he's shown his class in Syndra, but wondering what he's going to do on a little more complicated of a champion.
Yeah, we were talking about all the bans that were used to adapt to your opponents, but now also the pick here used by Instinct to throw eSuba a little bit off their game plan. And we see a Thresh coming in here for Team Instinct, so another supporter with the possibility to make some good openings in team fights with that one hook that just has to land on the one target you want to single out there.
Yeah, and so Townkinch, that is a very nice possibility, and that is going to be big. I'm so happy to get to see that guy, and you can always like count on him in the LCS games when like a lot of supports are banned out. Townkinch can be picked up, and this champion has already shown up on numerous different lanes, so it doesn't even necessarily always have to be the support. If you've got a good idea how to use him on the top lane, his ultimate can be pretty useful right there. And especially with that Lee Sin, especially with how good eSuba's jungler was, we saw that. Tahm Kench can be a very dangerous beast. These unexpected ganks with maybe some other mid laners. So maybe we're going to have a little bit of an immobile mid laner again for eSuba. So maybe they're going to go for something along the lines of Cassiopeia or Orianna. And just to have that additional mobility with the Tahm Kench and the element of surprise. Kha'Zix is going to be the other jungler right here. So he's going to face off against the Lee Sin.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that Kha'Zix, if it comes to that, what you said, that we have an immobile champion in the mid lane, this Kha'Zix jumps into the mid lane. They could really work here because there's just not much of getting away if we see an immobile mid laner here. And Kha'Zix, it's a very nice pick if maybe Instinct, they are already adapting to that and they're already also seeing what you were suggesting here in the composition of eSuba.
That surely is an opening right here. So I'm still wondering what the top laners are going to be because Galio was pretty popular yesterday. Though I already mentioned yesterday he was not so successful. Nobody was really able to show us a good Galio. And that still stays. Even after the last match of yesterday, Fielder just got demolished. So again, we could be seeing a Galio, though this time I hope that between these two teams, between Instinct and eSuba, who are supposedly the best in the regions, they will finally be able to execute him well. And especially with Instinct's previous match, they dominated the top lane. So, yeah. Wondering if it's going to be them who go for the Galio, and if eSuba actually do it, if that Galio once again is just going to get destroyed, or if eSuba have what it takes. About the Czech lineup, I don't think we've seen a single issue, a weakness on their side in the first match. Possibly the bottom lane a little bit, but I also think that these guys were just laid back in the first match that they had right here. They didn't have to stress it at all. T could just die a couple of times right there. It did not become a problem at any point.
Yeah, probably. They were not putting in the full throttle here in the first game. They did not really seem to have to do that. They did not have to put it all on the line. Maybe against Instinct this is going to change, and we see a Lucian pick once more here from Team Instinct. Wondering if this time Lucian will go into the mid lane again, or if we see him now as an AD carry because Xayah has been banned.
Yeah, this time it definitely is going to be the EA carry pick, as Sintra's already locked in right there. I don't really see that being any kind of different. And Lucian Thresh, that is a combo that was picked many, many, many times about a year ago. It was just the main go-to combo. Now, once again, that goes out to the surface, and actually it's going to be Ari middle lane. So it's not like eSuba are going for something immobile. They're going to go for that Ari indeed. And there's a Galio. So that's a big challenge for the top laner of Instinct. Either he dominates that top lane and we once again see a useless Galio, or eSuba just show finally a successful Galio, and with that also just stamp their first place in the group B.
If not eSuba, who else should go for a good top lane Galio here? But on the other hand, we see Instinct, they're picking a Fiora in order to bring something up against that Galio. So still, it remains to be seen if we finally see some successful Galio plays here. Because yesterday, Galio just was a bit tanky, was just standing around in those team fights, but didn't really make a lot happen, as you mentioned before. Fiora, on the other hand, we have seen some great plays yesterday. Fiora being used as a split pusher and also as a damage dealer in the team fights. So there's a possibility for Team Instinct to go for maybe some openings if eSuba don't play it too well and maybe lose some of their vision, are not aware of where that Fiora is pushing right now. So there's definitely a good possibility for Instinct that they will put a strong play here on the line.
But that was by Fiora, who, other than Fiora, actually could not show us anything impressive. And we have just seen a perfect performance from Instinct's top laner on Rumble. Now he's picking up a Fiora. I'm quite confident in this guy. I hope that Instinct can at least grant themselves some advantage out there in the top. Then middle lane, it's gonna be really hard against such a middle laner. Then Kha'Zix in the jungle, Lucian and Thresh in the bottom lane. As you mentioned, Kha'Zix could become a big nuisance right there, and Lucian Thresh, I won't even focus on the champions so much. I will just point out that this Zaya and Rakan worked perfectly well for them last time. So I believe that this duo is able to make it good. And it's a good challenge for eSuba's bottom lane, because as I said, T could just sacrifice himself a little bit in the previous game. This time, if he does that, he is going to be severely punished. So I think eSuba have to go for a playstyle where they make no mistakes.
Yeah, and I'm also keen to see how that synergy between the two bot laners from Team Instinct, how this is gonna work, as Nicola and Tasteless are not going for like Xayah and Rakan again, but for Thresh and Lucian, who also have that great combination that you were talking about. But this is where they really have to show they're not only good at that one particular pick with the one team they were able to build in the last game, but it also will show us if they can work as a team with whatever champions they have on the line here. And to mention something else, eSuba and Instinct, this might very well be also the finals of this group stage, as these two teams have really dominated their opponents. So once again, this could be just the game where both of those teams get to know each other, just find out about the flaws of the opponent, maybe see some chances here and scout for that final game of the group stage. But we are ready to jump in. It is eSuba from the Czech Republic going up against Team Instinct from Greece.
Surely a match we've been waiting for right here in Group B. And also what I want to say is that yesterday a lot of players were actually focusing on their most comfort picks of the one single champion. Like, for instance, in the jungle, Grace was just dominant. In the top lane, I just remember Fyodor Forklev. He was such an important member of Doran's Alpha. He would always want to have that Fiora. If he didn't have it, he just went for Galio. So here we see a little bit more variety. For effort, he played a Karma in the first game. Now he plays a Tamkinch. For the mid laner Humanoid, it was first of all Syndra, now that Syndra is taken away, so he's going to play an Ari in the jungle. We've got once again a Lee Sin, but that's fine. But then the Galio is also something new today. On the other side, that Fiora instead of the Rumble, the Kha'Zix also joins the fray. That's another new jungler that we do get to see right here. Though we also have a Golem on that Lucian, and last time he was playing the mid lane of that Lucian. So is it actually Thresh with Syndra in the bottom lane? Wow.
That would be very, very interesting. That was something I was talking about, but didn't really seem to believe in that as well. As you said, that Lucian is probably going to be the AD carry, and I also thought so, but it might definitely be a chance here. But Fat Wonder Kid, he has to be careful.
Oh.
The flash is already out, but chased by Golem. Not really getting the kill here. Golem also used his own flash, so everything is still fine. And now let's see.
Yeah,
for now, at least, Syndra is staying on the bot lane.
With that flash, he forced out an exhaust instantly from the Ahri. So that's what will be missing in the middle lane. We don't have the ignite for Lucian. We don't have the exhaust for Ahri. Pretty interesting to see. And also, yeah, we've got the ignite on the Lucian. That's a very aggressive choice right here. He's not playing with the cleanse anymore because he doesn't have that Rammus. It could always catch him and stuff. While in the bottom lane, the heal is still going to be available. There is no single exhaust right there on Instinct. That could be a little bit problematic if the Lee Sin gets going, if T this time has a good game on his Caitlyn. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, there's also the possibility that we will see the Lucian shift later on to the bot lane, or maybe Syndra, that a switch might be happening there. Definitely a point there. But Jakey, once again, he's in the opponent's jungle, doing what he does best. A little bit of counter jungling, disturbing just the build up, and Golem already pretty low. And that's what you were talking about. Ignite, exhaust, they're both missing in the mid lane. So they really have to rely on the skill set of their champions.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a problem for Golem, as earlier on when he was chasing down that Galio, he had to take a couple of free hits as he was focusing on the enemy's top laner, so that's a little bit of an advantage for the Ahri. And last time on that Syndra, he was way too dominant. That's really dangerous. They have to be careful about it. And the potions are also not there, just the Doran's sword and Doran's shield, Doran's ring, excuse me, remains. So just the basic items, nothing additional.
And we have Kha'Zix also wandering here around in the opponent's jungle, maybe facing Jackie here. But for now, just deciding to go back. There's the ward, so Jackie knows everything about it. And Fiora is shifting from the top lane. And Nikolic is going for the blue buff here. And with the help of Fiora, they're probably able. But the blue buff just resets.
And that's interesting, because Yegi, as he was falling back, he expected the blue buff to reset. That blue buff instead went straight into the Kha'Zix. I was surprised a little bit about that. But they made a little tiny mistake of falling back one step, and that reset the blue, because he was just on the verge of losing that aggro. Amazing of a situation, a little bit unlucky from Instinct, and I already have to say that I love what we're seeing in the jungle. Lee Sin at first, very active, forces Stefan Nikolic to fall back on very low HP in the bottom side of the red jungle. Now, walking into the upper half of the blue jungle, Stefan tries to counter a little bit, tries to steal that buff. That doesn't work out, so you can already see how big that battle between Lee Sin and Kha'Zix already is, and it is just going to get more and more intense as we get into the fights, as we get into ganks finally, possibly, because of course it's a Kha'Zix, it's a Lee Sin. These two guys can just explode everybody.
Yeah, for now, Lee Sin is making his way into the river. There's the possibility to maybe shift to the mid lane as he's waiting for an engaged Ahri there. Is drawing Lucian out a little bit. And there comes Jakey with his Lee Sin, maybe waiting for the good engage. And there's the charm. So Lee Sin trying to come in here. And there's the first blood, and Golem just falls down to the ground.
Yeah, the Lucian did not have so much space out there on his mid lane. As we mentioned, he was pretty low on health a little bit earlier. He had to use up the summoner spells to fight the Galio. He did not get the kill on Galio, so a little bit disappointing. He still had his flash down, and the relentless assault was not enough. And now, 1-0 in favor of eSuba. Starts maybe as expected, but in the very beginning, it is much more evened out than I thought it would be in the beginning. After seeing the first match of the group, indeed, Instinct are on the good enough level to battle it out evenly versus eSuba, though they have to be careful to not make any mistakes. And already risking it, putting that Lucian in the middle lane and Syndra in the bottom lane is a little bit of a questionable thing. You can clearly see how Lucian is beaten up in the CS. 50 to 30. Now he dies additionally. Actually has that flask, so he will have the sustain in the lane, but Ari does not really feel the danger from the Lucian at all. Great stun into two people, but still the exhaust is going to be enough to let Lee Sin land his Dragon Rage and the Sonic Wave. Even the Lantern was not good enough from Thresh.
And that's something we have to take further focus on, because for now we have seen 2 kills and it was on that Lucian and that Syndra. That was the one thing that threw us a bit off here. The one thing that is a bit different from the standard way of play. So for now it doesn't really seem to clip for Instinct here. Can they make it work? That's the big question.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. And Kha'Zix, I feel like, should be a pretty important person in that entire mission. Same goes for Fiora. Fiora's doing quite fine in the top lane. Possibly partly thanks to what Lucian has done in the middle lane at first. But I don't think that he can count on that mid laner enough. That Golem is going to be a little bit limited. Also, that Syndra coming in from the bottom lane, I'm wondering how impactful she's going to be. She's not a Ziggs after all, so putting her down there is still pretty risky. And you've caught her up against Caitlyn. Of course, she's going to poke you around. She's got pretty good range, but since the early game's already gone, Nico has got that level 6. He's got the ultimate available already. He's got that Scat of the Week all the time. He can still reach the Caitlyn. It's not like he's being outranged there completely, so that's fine.
Now we see Syndra coming to the mid lane here, waiting for an engage. And Ari just safely walks into the river, and also Jakey is there with the Lee Sin just to help out. He was just strolling around a little bit here in the opponent's jungle, and now Ari comes in. They focus on Senpai here. Jakey will have to engage it. Gaio also comes in, and that secures for Syndra for the second time. And we have the battle now between Lucian. Got out of it. And Jakey already being on a rampage here. He's doing a great job. He's going from one gank to another. He's on the top lane going for that Fiora. And then he went straight into the middle to make something happen.
Okay, the recap is that rampage that you could see. The thing that you said, he already is on a rampage. He's already got 4 kills on Alice in. And I was talking about how Kha'Zix is supposed to be the one that saves his team a little bit. Or maybe the Fiora. But Fiora's not doing just enough yet. She's not completely out farming Galio like in the previous game. Legion was able to get 120 CS more than his counter top laner. Now it's just 10, 15. It's perfectly acceptable in a matchup like this, where Fiora likes to dominate her lane. It's not dominating at all. Now, it is going to be a little bit of a taunt right there. Just a tiny bit of damage coming through, but eSuba are not suffering. They are taking the Ocean Drake. And that's always going to help a little bit in terms of the regeneration. But I don't think that they will need it so much. They don't have a very heavy siege comp. They don't have a poke comp at all. Okay, well, he's in deep danger. Now that's going to be a shutdown, and that shutdown goes straight into the hands of Stefan Nikolic. Important target to get that on. This time they should be able to steal that blue buff. Or not. Actually, they decide to fall back really quickly because everybody converges on towards them. That was T with effort, with Humanoid from the mid lane, and the top laner coming down to just gag that Kha'Zix. So, no, blue buff is not going to be taken away. But still, he should be happy with that kill he got. The shutdown. Now he just has to use the money wisely. And let's see what he goes for. It's just going to be the upgraded machete. And he still doesn't even have enough to upgrade his shoes or get anything else. So it's not yet a big power spike he's got right there. I think he'll still Lee Sin is a little bit ahead.
Very interestingly, we see the Syndra now going on the top lane against the Gaio. So Fiora shifting to the bot lane where she faces Ari. So everything has been shifted right now, and right at the Baron pit, it looks like something might be up here as Thresh and Lucian together with Kha'Zix are chasing that Lee Sin. He just goes back into his own jungle and tries to look there. But that opens up the opportunity for Team Instinct to slay Rift Herald, and they just do so. Tasteless
and that's a
now
good counter. And I think that it also is once again the same mistake that Yaki is doing. It's once again the 12th minute, exactly the same timer mark. When Yaki decides to go for the Rift Herald, once again he's forced away and that is stolen by the enemy team. So maybe just do it 1-2 minutes later. But still, they got a good fight in the bottom lane. They will get the turret out of this one. It's once again 2-0 in terms of the turrets. When it gets to 4-0 that we saw in the previous game, you could see that it already gets to about 10,000 gold of a difference. So I see that eSuba is quite comfortable with how it is. The Rift Herald at least help enough for the Greek team. And they're still battling it out in the middle, and I don't think it's in the top, excuse me, and I don't think it's a good idea because there's 4 people in the middle for eSuba. They easily get the inner turret, and now they're gonna fall back. There could be a little bit of a backstab on the enemy team. Oh, that was dangerous, but Galio is still alive. He's quite tanky. He's able to withstand that damage. No ult available for Tamkin. He just used it down in the bottom lane, but he's still going to be coming in from behind. Could still be some pretty good slows coming through. Well, Stephanie College blocks that ace in the hole. There's nobody else to toss in the damage. The Thresh Lantern is taken,
nice
but there's Yaki.
And Stefan Nikolic finally falling down, slain by the Caitlyn here. T and Effort now making their way to the top turret. And they will get the better trade off here because you were saying it. They were pushing the mid lane. In the meanwhile, Instinct, they were focusing the top lane, but not quite able to get that second turret here. And now a punch back by eSuba. They're also not quite able to get that turret down. But they come back.
They will.
Yeah, and Tasteless all alone, he can't just go in there. He's a Thresh all in his own. On the bot lane now we see the fight Fiora going up here against Ari. Ari will seek the safety of her turret and finds it.
Okay then. Right now we can see all the problems just piling up on top of each other for Instinct. They have only 2 kills on their account. They managed to get down the first turret in the top lane in exchange for 2 turrets in the middle lane with the use of Rift Herald additionally. So in my opinion, that's a completely wasted trade out there. Plus, they lost 1 more person off the back of it. The team fight overall a little bit earlier was not good at all. The Lucian in the middle lane this time does not work out completely. And yep, that's a little bit of playing. Seeing that Lucian previously with the Zion Rakan in the bottom lane, that seemed pretty interesting. It worked out perfectly for them, but the enemy just was a class lower. You could clearly say that. Now, when they're facing off against a completely serious team, now Lucian in the middle is just not enough. It's just the character does not exactly suit the needs of that lane. The Syndra at the bottom lane also not filling her task. 0-2 at the moment. There was no possibility to assassinate anybody, so I don't really see that going good for Instinct. And the top lane, still the 10 to 20 CS difference, no difference. Especially with Fiora dying, with Galio still being able whatever he wants to do.
And we're finally experiencing a nice performance here by that Galio. He was crushed in the early game a little bit by Fiora, but that's always what's supposed to happen. But for now, Galio seems to stabilize his team a lot and help out wherever he's needed. We see a lot of
still waiting
action
for his
now.
ultimate though.
Yeah.
And there's a possibility to do that now if he wants to jump on the backside of the enemy team. He could do that. The turret is easily going to be taken down by that Caitlyn. So maybe on the next minion wave, a Cloud Drake is taken by Lee Sin in the meantime. So Yeki definitely gets something done for the team. Just keeps the tempo going. And that's something that I lack sometimes even in the top games and even in the LCS. Sometimes the teams just get some good early game advantage and they stick with it. They have 5,000 gold lead, but they're not really able to keep up the tempo. You always have to chip at these turrets. You always have to take that Drake. You always have to let the enemies know that you're there, that you're not giving up the advantage. And in the top lane, additionally, Humanoid completely outplays the Fiora. Exhaust was burned right there, but that's fine. When the Grand Challenge was used, only one weak point was attacked, and that just shows you the speed at which Ari was able to eliminate the enemy.
And with another turret down, we now have a count of 5 turrets for eSuba. Going up against just one turret being crushed by Instinct, and they are pushed into their base, at least as it looks for now. And they have to ask themselves if it was really the right choice to go for that little bit of an awkward choice to go with Syndra on the bot lane and to go up with Delusion in the middle. So that's something that they will have to examine, as they might be facing eSuba once more, but this game is still not over. They're just pushed into the defense mode.
Yeah, well, one turret taken by Instinct still remains, and it's only one turret in the top lane, wasting a lot more in return, so I cannot actually respect that at all. The gold discrepancy, 1,500 in the middle lane, nearly 2,000 in the bottom lane. That's why I'm saying, just put that Lucian in the bottom, just put that Syndra in the middle. Could have been a lot better, though I don't necessarily know how these guys roll. Maybe it's what they do every single time. But the Lee Sin between Kazakhs, that's where you see the biggest contrast. Still a little bit over 2,000, but even with that shutdown that Kazakhs got on the rampaging Lee Sin, Yeki's still doing very, very nicely. He's still controlling all the movements on the map, and once again, I only think that he did one mistake. Again, it was the premature Rift Herald, but other than that, he was actually taking the dragons very correctly. He was getting some nice ganks going. That's a great taunt from Galio, actually, letting his team set up an attack from behind with the use of Tamkench's ult. And easy kill to still once again just pick up the tempo, just keep the tempo going. Show your enemies that they won't have any time for breathing. Fiora, you want to farm in the middle of bot lane at minute 20 with no inner and outer turret. It's not possible. You're going to be punished for that.
And this looked like a dangerous engage here, as Kazakhs was all alone in the jungle, just Illusion following it up a bit, and Ari and Lee Sin not quite able to secure a kill. But we also see the action here on the bot lane, as T and Fat Wonder Kid are just pushing into that turret. They just lack some minions in order to really get it down. Legion and Golem are now on the hunt here, trying to get the creeps a little bit away from their base. Now, Tasteless and Nicola Senpai are in the mid lane, going up against Gaio. Gaio is too tanky in order to engage him here. And I'm still waiting for that great hook by Thresh. That could maybe be the one thing that engages a good team fight, where they're able to take something out, to trade something.
Yeah, well, that surely is a possibility. That one Thresh hook could change everything, could turn everything around, but it's kind of painful. It's hard to imagine that anything is going to change right here, especially, yep, the engage from Humanoid dodges actually quite nicely. There's a little bit of Galio ult that's missed again, so once again not really able to see a good one. Plus, it was not directed nicely so that Fiora could just run away to her team. And the grand challenge is completed. And that's the healing additionally. And now the problems begin though. Stephanie College is a little bit too low on health to help. And Legion is also completely surrounded by the enemy team. But the charge misses. And it is not even enough, the missing charge. Plus Caitlyn, off the back of it, was able to finish off another member of the enemy team. And Aki was looking for the continuation of this fight. But time controlling a little bit too early just ends it. Still, it is a 2-for-2 if I'm not mistaken, so not bad for the situation that Instinct are in. But there we go, a flash initiation, re-initiation I should even say, from Galio. A double kill for Caitlyn, make it even a triple kill, make it even a quadra kill, as T got a kill earlier on in that fight, so unofficial quadra for them. There's going to be a Baron for sure. Well, Stepan Nikolic is running, so if they don't finish it quickly enough, he could have a shot at stealing it, but I don't think he's going to make it in time.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be too late. And Legion also there, but not able to engage here all alone. But Stepan Nikolic jumping in now. Still Jakey here with a good smite, securing that Baron. And now they will fall back and push again once more with the Baron buff on their hands.
(16-4), quadrupled amount of the enemy's kills. The tower still just a single one for Instinct. That's really tough, really tough.
Now, once more we get a replay of that last bits of the fight, as both T and JT were alone in the jungle, but somehow were able to push it all around. When Gaio came in, that was the moment of death, and T able to secure the kill for him. Greatly played here by eSuba.
Okay, so we're getting to the point where slowly but surely the inhibitor turrets will be attacked and taken at some point surely. Galio decides to teleport to the bottom lane alongside with the rest of the team, help them out. The cannon minion, siege minion is still delivering the damage, and Nikolai is not going to be able to get rid of it all alone. And then comes another wave pushed in by eSuba. These guys are also splitting that aggro a little bit. To the middle, to the bottom, but they cannot push the top. And in the top, there's a Fiora pushing. There could be something. That is some idea. But if they don't lose a fight right here, because right now the third falls, the debuff begins. There's a box from the Thresh, though. Nicely zones out the entirety of eSuba. In the meantime, it's not going to zone them away from the inhibitor. And now the mid is going to be taken. So Fiora being in the top was overall a good idea. But Fiora being in the top when two other inhibs are being taken is already kind of giving up on the game.
Yeah, she's just a little bit too slow in what she's doing, and now we have another team fight coming up here, and Instinct, they just cannot lose this, but they will not be able to grab a victory here, and T is godlike in the midst of it all. Gaio now making his way up as a tank to the opponent's team. The first Nexus power already down. What a great engage. Nikolai Senpai is there at that Nexus, just melting away. Victory here eSuba versus Instinct.